it's Kris.
And this is Wyatt from Notebook Entertainment.
And we're here to bring you the Horrorland news. So we're starting with an update from our last episode, which is awesome. We love that.
We love updates.
Things all come together like that. We talked about Nosferatu, and there were several rumors about one remake, and that led us to another remake that was kickstarted back in 2015, or 2014, I'm sorry, for director David Lee Fisher. And it was supposed to be starring Doug Jones, and I went through how we haven't gotten really any updates from the filmmakers since 2017, until we had an account tweet out, I can't think of a better director, now cast Doug Jones as Orlok in response to the Bloody Disgusting article that I had told you about in the last episode. And Doug Jones himself replied saying, already did a Nosferatu remake that will be out next year for the original's 100th anniversary. So that's good news, we think. I'm assuming that the filmmakers are talking to their stars. We would like it if they would talk to the fans a little more. I don't think Doug Jones should have to be the ambassador for this Kickstarter project. Yeah. But yeah, great news. We're excited. Can't wait to see it. And
Doug Jones, if you're watching this, let us know any other updates you've got.
Yeah, if you've got some inside track, please keep tweeting those updates. We'll keep reporting them.
So, that would be great. And speaking of updates, we saw Candyman tonight.
Right, yep. So we're going to give you kind of our first reactions. We're going to talk a little bit spoiler-free about it, and then we will get into some spoiler sections. So we will let you know before we get to spoiler territory so that you can turn this off and go see the movie for yourself.
Exactly. So, Candyman 2021. So it's kind of what we said in the last video, what we wanted.
And we kind of have our hopes on what this movie turns out. I know we've discussed it already, and we're kind of thinking that hopefully it's a passing of the torch. We very much got what we wanted, I think.
Which is probably why I'm so happy about it. But
Justified.
Yeah.
The movie follows an artist. And a bunch of artists, actually, in the art world. And it does feel like you're part of the art, the way that it's filmed.
For everything from the shadow puppets to the paintings to the shots in the mirror.
It's great the way they do
it.
It's stunning. It's fantastic. And it keeps you on the edge of your seat because you're constantly looking in the background for,
and I found them a couple
any
times.
Little reflections because the Candyman could be there.
And watch, because some of the times he was.
Slight spoiler, not giving away anything from the plot, really, but the very beginning of the movie when it, all the opening credits and stuff, they're all in reverse. They're in mirror image. And so from that very first thing, you're kind of like, wait a minute, what? Yeah. And it pulls you in right from, the Universal logo.
Yeah. I love it when the movies feel they're big enough to mess with the logo. Like, I love that. Yep. I think that's fantastic.
And it wasn't just it was every single logo was
they were
flipped
all
around.
Reversed.
They committed.
They did.
They committed
they really
to that bit.
Did. I think for a second you may have thought that there was something wrong with the reel.
Yeah, I did. I really did. I was like, do we need to flip this? Like,
right.
I don't.
And I was like, no, I get it. I get what they're doing. If it would have kept going, then.
And then I was like, oh, mirrors, right?
Yeah.
Got it.
So it was.
And Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, he was a star, and he did fantastic. I think in this movie.
I was really invested in his character.
Yep, He pulled you in. You kind of felt what he was feeling, the confusion and the recognition and the...
Yeah, and it's funny because, all artists, even though it's different mediums, are the same, but like that moment where he's excited because his art made the news for a very bad reason.
Yeah, it's not a great reason, but
he's still getting a mention.
It's like, they mentioned me on my work on the news.
Right.
And I'm like, I kind of feel that.
Yeah.
And then Teyana Paris... She plays his girlfriend, Brianna, in the film. And I was telling him, her eyes are the way they're so expressive and wide and just, it reminds me of Virginia Madsen. It's you can see the story through her expression.
We like it, is the bottom line.
Definitely go see it. I think that's all we can say without... Spoilers.
So let's do spoiler alert.
So if you don't want to know, don't watch from here on out. Go see the movie and then come back and watch.
Yeah. So, and, okay. So,
So, Tony Todd!
Yes! I was worried. I was starting to get worried.
We were going the whole movie, and I'm sitting there like, this is great. Where's Tony Todd? Where's Tony Todd? I was told we were getting Tony Todd.
Yep, I was promised.
Then he shows up at the end, and you're like, perfect.
It was perfect.
I was sitting there in the theater going, yay!
The character, the main guy we're watching, ends up kind of becoming the new Candyman.
Which is what we wanted. We wanted. We said we wanted it to be a passing of a torch where Candyman sort of selects his own apprentice to keep the urban legend going. Yeah. And what this movie did brilliantly is they used the first one and the baby from the end, and it turns out that Anthony is the baby. The use of the shadow puppets is fantastic. The way they use them for the storytelling, beginning and end. Yeah,
it's got a creepy feel to it. It's got a
sinister innocence. Yeah. Like, it's weird because it's very childlike, but it's very sinister scenes being played out with these shadow puppets. And throughout, if you stay through the whole end credits, there's no end credit scene, but the whole movie is like played out in these shadow puppets throughout the end credits. Oh, at the end, we mentioned that Tony Todd shows up, but how he shows up is we've been learning through the movie that there's this progression, and it started with Daniel, and he was the original Candyman, and then they mentioned there's one in like the 1920s, and then the one in the 70s,
which is the one we see
here. And then Daniel comes back in the 90s for the original Candyman movie. So at the very end of this one, as Brianna's walking up to Anthony as he's already dead, already fully Candyman, the smoke kind of clears, and it's Tony Todd's face, and I was like, ah.
We were both just super excited.
And he basically tells her, tell everyone, the story.
Tell everybody about
spread the urban legend. So that's kind of how the movie ends, and I'm so down for sequels.
I'm telling you right now, I want to see a team up movie of all the Candymans getting together.
Right.
Maybe the next one could be the 1920s or 30s, whatever it was, story, and then after that, let's get a team up.
Yeah, let's do instead of a sequel, let's do a prequel. Let's get the 1920s one in there. Find out his story. And then do a team up. I'm down. Because that's what I think, and we both mentioned this when we were coming out of the theater, is the one thing that kind of disappointed us, if we had to nitpick and pick one thing, was that there was never a scene of all of them lined up. Like at the very end of the credits,
in the shadow puppets,
the puppets are all lined up,
and it's really cool. So it really would be cool in live action.
So we were hoping like Tony Todd walks out of the mist, and then here's the other guys walking out with Anthony.
Well, I'll tell you what I really liked was the way it ends is that it's almost like Candyman is being weaponized.
Yeah,
he's being
against
used
the police and stuff now. Instead of coming and haunting his own community, it's almost like they figured out a way to weaponize him as a social justice. I don't want to say social justice, but as a vigilante.
As a vigilante, there you go. Someone to right the wrongs that are done.
Because the very first thing new Candyman does is kill the fuck out of the cops who killed him and killed him.
Great.
And then not only did these cops kill him, they just came in shooting, which is this great stylized shot because you don't ever see the cops come in and shoot. You see it in shadow. Yeah. You see Brianna sitting there cradling Anthony. And then in the shadows, you see them come in, you hear them yell, freeze, and then bang, bang, bang. Yep. And for a minute, you don't know if she's been shot too, because she's sitting there kind of taking stock of herself. Like, did I get shot? And then she realizes, no, they just shot him. And he was already half dead anyway, so they just ran in and shot a half-dying man. Right after, they arrest Brianna, of course, and then pull her in the car and are basically telling her, like, here's what's going to happen. Either you're going to give the statement that we want you to give, where he rushed us and we had to shoot him, or you're going down as an accomplice, he's still dead, and you're going to jail for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So those were the options the cops were trying to give her. So she, of course, decides, you know what?
I knew
Fuck
it too.
I'm gonna Candyman this shit. So she Candymans it, and calls him, and he comes and kills the fuck out of those cops.
Because this whole scene is done with her in the back of the car, and you only see the cop in the rearview mirror.
That's the thing, is there are a lot of kills in this, and some are very, very bloody. But the best kills, I think, are the ones you almost don't see. Like that one where the cops just come running out bleeding and you don't even see what's happened to them, but you understand.
Yep.
And then there's this one amazing shot somewhere in the middle of the movie. There's this art critic. Now that everyone's talking about, she's very interested in his work, and she has this new interpretation of it because she thought before that it was just not very good. So she invites him over to her apartment to talk. He dares her to say Candyman, and we don't see her do it, but she goes to the bathroom, and we have to assume she does because he goes to, and this mirror shot is amazing too. This whole sequence is amazing. But she's got this long mirror in her hallway, and he goes and he sees himself, but he doesn't see himself. He sees Candyman, the new Candyman. Yeah. And they do, that old routine where it's like,
right.
Mirror, and but yeah. And then he turns around and you see Candyman in the mirror behind her in the bathroom.
Yeah, when he's leaving.
And when he's leaving. He leaves and then the camera pulls through her window and out into the night, staying on her window. And you can see as it's pulling out, she's getting murdered against her window. By nothing.
And she's just flying around the room and just spattering against the wall. I'm like, that is the greatest shot.
And then her body slides along the window, and as it keeps zooming out, you just see this red streak going across her window.
It's not the goriest kill, but it's
the most artistic.
Best.
Yeah,
it's the best.
And that's what I love those kills because you're literally watching someone be killed by nothing, and it's so fascinating to watch.
It was really good. The stuff they did to reimagine Candyman works. Yep.
Very much so.
They changed very little, but the stuff they did, it works.
It stays a movie about urban legends. It stays a movie about ghosts. Yeah. And it stays a movie about social and racial injustices. So it still stays true to not only Candyman, but the Clive Barker story.
Yep, and also to Jordan Peele movies, which you come to expect from.
Exactly. So it delivers on all fronts. Go see this movie. Please go see this movie.
Go see this movie. We need a sequel. So
Let's make it a success.
Rent it if you don't feel safe to go in the theaters.
Yep.
So
rent it, whatever.
Yeah, so that could be our review.
Do not illegally download.
No. So our review, I'm going to say go see it in theaters if you feel safe, or rent it at full price when it comes out to rent.
Two big zombie thumbs up. I'm all for it.
Me too. Thank you guys. This has been so much fun. Everybody who's watched the video, we appreciate it. We're only going to get better as we go.
Hopefully.
So we're going to do this with other horror movies. We're going to do a show the night before, and then we're going to see a movie, and we're going to give you a reaction. So.
And the next one we have coming up is the one that gets released on...
Malignant.
Malignant.
Yeah, Malignant. So that's going to be on HBO Max, so we'll all enjoy that from home. So we can probably do a video that night that it comes out, maybe.
Yeah,
so.
We'll see.